Assalamu alaikum. Once again, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, in this video lecture, we are going to discuss an important poem, A Far Cry from Africa, which is written by Derek Walcott. And Derek Walcott, he was a post-colonial writer, and this poem is from post-colonial literature, A Far Cry from Africa. This is a poem that we are going to discuss. And now, first of all, we talk about the Derek Walcott. He born in 1930 in Saint Lucia. It was an island. It was an ex-British colony, so it had a great influence on poet's life and his work. And the poet Derek Walcott, he was influenced by the English writers like William Shakespeare, T.S. Eliot, and Ezra Pound, and he wrote many poems and plays and essays, and he died in 2017 in Saint Lucia. So this is a poem that we are going to discuss, and this poem contains 33 lines. There are three stanzas in this poem. This is a long poem. So first stanza has 10 lines, second stanza has 11 lines, and third stanza has total 12 lines. We talk about the poem. The poem is about the warfare. It is about the retaliation against the whites by the blacks, and the Kenyan people, they fought back for their independence, and they tried to get freedom from the Britishers. And poet calls it Mau Mau uprising. It was a kind of guerrilla war against the colonial regime. The title, A Far Cry from Africa, this title of the poem suggests that this is the voice of someone who is far from Africa. A far cry from Africa, it was a direct response by the Kikuyu tribe against the British colonialists in the form of Kikuyu Revolution. It was not a direct war, it was a guerrilla war. It was not a direct attack on British army, it was a surprise attack on civilians. Kikuyu tribe of the Kenya, they wanted to free themselves from the clutches of British Empire. They could not confront the British army directly. They wanted to avenge themselves against the atrocities and terror and torture that was done to them by the Britishers. So they wanted to take revenge themselves. So they were not powerful to confront the British army directly. They targeted the British civilians through the surprise tactics, through the surprise attacks, particularly at the night when the British army was not there. They did not spare the children, they did not spare the women and old people. They killed them mercilessly. This was a heinous activity from the Kikuyu tribe of the Kenyan people. The response of the Britishers was equally heinous. It was a furious. They established labor camps, and as we see in the Nazi concentration camps, the Kikuyu people were kept in those camps, and they were tortured physically, emotionally, and mentally, and were beaten by the British army till death. So the response of the Britisher was so brutal. So Derek Walcott, he is fascinated and he is influenced by the English poets and English literature. He associate himself with the English poets, and he was influenced by the different English writers like William Shakespeare, T.S. Eliot, and Ezra Pound. And he had fondness to English language and to some extent English people, and he know the reality, political reality of the Africa, that Kenyan people are being exploited by the Britishers under the colonial regime, and he has sentiments with the English people. So the problem is that which side he should take. This is a far cry from Africa. This is the voice of a split identity. So poet says that educated people know that the war is not the solution at all. It is only the political people who seek a war, who seek players to make themselves powerful. They wanted to reclaim their power, and they reclaim their identity through war. They feel they feel pleasure, they feel happiness to restore monarchy and establish monarchy. So the people who ponder or reflect on the humanitarian ground, they become the victim of split identity, as the poet Derek Walcott, he himself is. They become victimized by the dilemma, taking the side of the Britishers or taking the side of the native Africans. So this is the dilemma for the educated people. So this is the dilemma for the Derek Walcott himself. He is in the state of confusion. So he says that the Britishers, they came in Africa, they exploited, they tortured the African people. They did brutality cruelty, and they did barbarity and everything that can be possible. They did gain the sovereignty. Derek Walcott says that the Britishers, they did not deserve any kind of sympathy or humanitarian approach. If we see that the response of the Kikuyu tribe, we cannot justify this if you see from the humanitarian ground. Tooth for tooth and an eye for eye is revenge for its own sake. There will be no difference between the Kenyan people and the Britishers and the barbarous people. On the name of missionary, the Britishers, on the name of missionary projects, they exploited, they tortured the African native people, and what the native people did in response was the same.
Now we are going to explain this poem, A Far Cry from Africa, line by line.
A wind is ruffling the tawny belt of Africa. Wind, ठीक है, यहाँ पे ruffling word use हुआ हुआ है. ruffling कहते हैं disturbing. ठीक है, ruffling क्या है? disturbing, यानी wind जो है वो ruffling है. The downing belt, downy कहते हैं brownish ऑरेंज कलर को, पेल्ट कहते हैं प्लेन को, ग्राउंड को, ऑफ अफ्रीका. सो पोइट feels that the forceful wind is disturbing the countryside of Africa. This wind is a wind of revolution. It is a wind of change. It is a wind of retaliation by the Kenyan people against the Britishers. And this wind is a stormy wind and is disturbing wind. It is disturbing the established life of Africa. तो ये wind जो है वो एक normal wind नहीं है. ये wind जो है वो destructive है, डिस्टर्ब कर रही है नॉर्मल लाइफ ऑफ अफ्रीका को. तो यहाँ पे जो विंड है वो एक रेवोल्यूशन को रिप्रेजेंट करती है, एक रिटेलिएशन जो है केनियन पीपल की थी जो अगेंस्ट द ब्रिटिशर्स थी, या हम कह सकते हैं कि एक माओ माओ अपराइजिंग जो है, या एक स्ट्रगल है कीनिया के लोगों की अगेंस्ट द ब्रिटिशर टू गेट फ्रीडम फ्रॉम द ब्रिटिशर्स. तो यहाँ पे हम कह सकते हैं विंड जो है वो एक नॉर्मल विंड नहीं है. इट इज़ अ डिस्टर्बिंग wind and it is a revolution. It is a retaliation by the Kenyan people, by the Kikuyu tribe against the Britishers to get independence. उसके बाद हम सेकेंड लाइन देखते हैं. Kikuyu यहाँ पे वर्ड यूज हुआ है. Kikuyu जो है वो एक ट्राइब है, कीनिया के अंदर एक ट्राइब है, उसको Kikuyu ट्राइब कहा जाता है. क्विक एज फ्लाइज. So poet compared the flies who are feeding on the blood which is present in large amount to create blood streams. तो यहाँ पे जो पोइट है वो किक्यू को फ्लाइज से कंपेयर कर रहा है कि वो किस तरह से फ्लाइज जो हैं वो ब्लड को सक करती हैं. तो किक्यू जो हैं इस वॉरफेयर में ब्लड को सक कर रहे हैं. किन के ब्लड को सक कर रहे हैं? वाइट्स के ब्लड को सक कर रहे हैं. दे आर किलिंग द वाइट पीपल, दे आर किलिंग द वाइट इनोसेंट चिल्ड्रन, ओल्ड पीपल एंड वुमेन. तो यहाँ पे जो किक्यू हैं दे आर compared to the flies, they are like flies, they are battening, they are thriving, they are sucking the blood of the whites. Corpses are scattered through a paradise. Corpses किसको कहते हैं? Dead bodies को. Are scattered through a paradise. Now poet says that Africa was a paradise, but now it is no longer in a real sense a paradise. Once which was a full of resources, now it is littered with corpses. यानी जो पैराडाइज है, अफ्रीका को उन्होंने पैराडाइज कहा है कि पहले अफ्रीका जो था वो एक पैराडाइज की तरह से था, बट नाउ इट इज़ फुल ऑफ corpses, it is full of dead bodies. Africa once it was a paradise, now it is full of corpses, it is littered with corpses. क्योंकि जो हैं उन्होंने किल किया है ब्रिटिशर्स को. यहाँ पे बताया जा रहा है कि ब्रिटिशर्स को किल किया. उनके कॉर्प्सेस जो हैं आपको इस पैराडाइज के अंदर स्कैटर्ड नजर आती हैं. ओनली द वार्म कनल ऑफ कैरियन क्राइज वेस्ट नो कंपैशन ऑन दीज सेपरेट डेथ. तो यहाँ पे हमें पोइट कह रहे थे जो वॉर्म्स हैं, जो कीड़े मकोड़े हैं, वो किस तरह से डिके कर रहे हैं, ह्यूमन फ्लैशेस को डिकम्पोज कर रहे हैं. द पीपल हु हैव बीन किल्ड इन दिस वॉरफेयर हैव बीन लेफ्ट एज अ कैरियन, यानी वो डेड, कैरियन कहते हैं डेड बॉडीज को. ठीक है, तो जो लोग हैं इस वॉरफेयर में मारे गए हैं वो डेड बॉडीज की तरह यहाँ पे पड़े हैं. क्राइज विथ नो कंपैशन on these separate deaths. तो पोएट यहाँ पे हमें कहता है कि it is a waste of time to show sympathy, to show compassion for those who are not alive now. These dead are not in a position to receive your sympathy. यानी कि अब जो है आप उनके लिए sympathy शो करें, अब आप उनके लिए compassion शो करें, कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है अब इस कंपैशन का, इस सिंपैथी का, क्योंकि अब वो लोग जो हैं वो डेड हो चुके हैं, दे आर नाउ किल्ड. So we see the next line, statistics justify and scholars seize the salience of colonial policy. So there are some scholars, they try to justify the colonial policies, and some are against the policies of the Britishers, and statistics, they point out the relevant facts and figures. So poet here describes the Mau Mau uprising against the British colonialists in Kenya during the 1950. Earlier, the poet seems to blame the victims. Now he is blaming the colonial system which is in Kenya, which is imposed in Kenya, and it has polarized the population, it has polarized the native people. So now we discuss the last lines of this stanza. What is that to the white child hacked in bed, to savage expandable as juice? So now poet asks a rhetorical question, that how can you justify the killing of an innocent child who is sleeping in its bed, and he was killed mercilessly? How you will justify the savage, the brutal people who had killed the innocent Jews, because they were Jews? We see in Nazi's regime, innocent Jews were killed. Here poet describe racist attitude of the brutals as was taken by the Nazis against the Jews is worthless. ठीक है, क्योंकि ट्राइब है, उनका जो एटीट्यूड है, it is a kind of racist attitude towards the Britishers, towards the innocent white people, towards the children, towards the women and old people, who they are innocent, who they are not involved in the warfare, but उनको भी kill किया जा रहा है. So our next stanza starts from here. Threshed out by beaters, the long rushes break in a white dust of ibis, whose cries have wheeled since civilization's dawn from the perched river or beast taming plains. So these are 4 lines. Now we are going to discuss these 4 lines. Threshed out by the beaters. Beaters किसको कहते हैं? Farmers को कहते हैं या hunters को कहते हैं. The long rushes means long grass, break in a white dust of ibis. Ibis are the birds whose cries have wheeled since civilization dawns. Perched river, dried river, जो कि खुश्क हो चुके हैं. ठीक है. Beast किसको कहते हैं? Animals को कहते हैं. तो यहाँ पे हमें पोएट जो है अफ्रीका की वाइल्ड लाइफ के बारे में बता रहे हैं कि किस तरह से ibis और दूसरे बीस्ट जो हैं वो इस लैंड को रूल करते थे बिफोर द सिविलाइजेशन ऑफ अफ्रीकन एंड यूरोपियन. ठीक है. इनकी सिविलाइजेशन से पहले जो है अफ्रीका को रूल करने वाले बीस्ट हुआ करते थे, आईबीज हुआ करते थे, ये इसको रूल किया करते थे. ठीक है. और इसी में हमें हंटिंग के बारे में बताया गया कि किस तरह से एक सेंचुरीज ओल्ड हंटिंग कस्टम है कि लोग जो है यहाँ पे जो नेटिव्स होते थे वो एक ही लाइन में वॉक करते हुए लॉन्ग ग्रास से, ठीक है, बेटिंग करते थे कि ताकि उस ग्रास में से जो प्रे हैं, उनके शिकार हैं, वो फ्लश आउट हो जाएं. सो नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस फर्दर लाइंस. वायलेंस ऑफ बीस्ट ऑन बीस्ट इज रेड as natural law, but upright man seeks his divinity by inflicting pain. So poet says that if animal kills another animal for its survival, it is a natural law. But if a human is killing another human, it's against the human nature. It is against the natural law. You try to make yourself God-like, although you are doing the same act, you are doing the same brutality the animals are doing. So how you can call yourself a human? Human nature is not to kill the other human. How you can seek the pardon of the God by inflicting pain to the human beings? यहाँ पे पोएट कह रहे हैं कि आप जो है कहते हैं कि हम ह्यूमन हैं, तो ह्यूमन की तो नेचर ऐसी नहीं होती कि आप जो है वो दूसरे ह्यूमन्स को किल करें. तो एक एनिमलिस्टिक नेचर है कि एनिमल जो है वो दूसरे एनिमल को किल करता है फॉर इट्स सर्वाइवल. ह्यूमन जो है अगर ह्यूमन को किल करेगा तो ये तो नेचुरल लॉ नहीं है. इट इज़ अगेंस्ट द ह्यूमन नेचर, इट इज़ अगेंस्ट द नेचुरल लॉ. आप लोग जो है लॉ को क्या करते हैं, ब्रेक करते हैं, यू आर वायलेटिंग द लॉ। तो फिर आप लोग अपने आप को किस तरह से इंसान कहते हो? ठीक है, आप तो ब्रुटैलिटी शो कर रहे हो, आप तो किलिंग कर रहे हो एनिमल्स की तरह, तो फिर आप लोग भी एनिमल हो, आप लोग इंसान तो नहीं हुआ। ठीक है ना, जब आप एनिमलिस्टिक नेचर शो करोगे तो आप एनिमल ही होंगे ना, आप बीस्ट होंगे, आप इंसान तो नहीं होंगे। इंसानों का काम तो इंसानों को मारना नहीं होता ना। ठीक है, डिलेरियस एज दीज वर्ड बीस्ट्स his wars danced to the tightened carcass of a drum. So poet says that here the word is delirious. Delirious means passionate, insane, crazy, that human beings are passionate to the warfare, tried to get the power, they tried to get the sovereignty, to the warfare for the sovereignty, for the power. They kill the other human beings, they do the wars for pleasures, they do the wars for happiness, they seek happiness in the wars, they dance on the tunes on the drums of the warfare. यहाँ पे पोइट हमें कह रहे हैं कि जो ह्यूमन हैं they are passionate, they are insane, they are crazy for the warfare. ठीक, while he calls courage still that native dread of the white peace कॉन्ट्रैक्टेड बाय द डेड। यहाँ पे डेड जो है वो फेयरफुल के लिए यूज़ किया गया है। ठीक है, नाउ द पोइट सेज दैट ब्रिटिशर्स दे कॉल इट अ पीसफुल एक्टिविटी, वट एवर वी आर डूइंग इज़ राइट इन ऑर्डर टू रिस्टोर द पीस। तो यहाँ पे जो वाइट्स हैं उनके अकॉर्डिंग जो है, अगर आप लोग मतलब वॉर करते हैं, उनके अकॉर्डिंग अगर वॉर की जाए तो एक पीस के लिए वॉर की जाती है, एक ऑर्डर मेंटेन करने के लिए या ऑर्डर्स जो है रिस्टोर करने के लिए जो है वो वॉर की जाती है। नाउ वी सी द थर्ड स्टैंजा अगेन। Brutish necessity wipes its hands upon the napkin of a dirty cause again. A waste of our compassion as with Spain, the gorilla wrestles with the Superman. So poet here says that the brutal people are killing the innocent people, means the Kenyan people, the Britishers, they are killing each other and they are also killing the innocent people in this warfare. They are wiping their hands, they are wiping their bloody hands on a napkin, on a white napkin, for the dirty cause of colonial settlement along injustice. So the compassion, the sympathy of the word is meaningless. ठीक है, यहाँ पे अगर आप कंपैशन शो करते हो, आप सिंपैथी शो करते हो इन इनसेंट लोगों के लिए जो कि अब मर चुके हैं, ठीक है, तो ये आपकी सिंपैथी जो है वो मीनिंगलेस होगी, यूजलेस है। ठीक है, पोइट सेज दैट दिस वायलेंट स्ट्रगल, दिस रेवोल्यूशन, दिस फाइट बैक फॉर इंडिपेंडेंस इज़ नॉट जस्ट लिमिटेड टू अफ्रीका। यहाँ पे जो वॉरफेयर हो रही है, अफ्रीका में जो वॉरफेयर हो रही है या जो रेवोल्यूशन आई है किक्यू ट्राइब की तरफ से, एक स्ट्रगल है, एक फाइट बैक है फॉर द इंडिपेंडेंस फ्रॉम द ब्रिटिशर्स, तो ये लिमिटेड नहीं रही है अफ्रीका तक, बट it can happen in Europe as well, as we see that the Spanish Civil War in 1936 and 1939, which was fought between the Republicans and fascists. We are going to explain the last lines of this stanza. I who am poisoned with the blood of both, where shall I turn divided to the wind? I who have cursed the drunken officer of British rule, how choose between this Africa and the English tongue I love? Betray them both or give back what they give? How can I face such slaughter and be cool? How can I turn from? So poet, he says that I have a mixed blood of both British and the Kenya, British and the Africa. So the dilemma for me is, where shall I turn? My personality has been split completely. If I write in English language, if I use English language against the Britishers, it means I am standing with my own natives, with Africans, with the Kenyan people, with the brutality of the Kenyan people, and I am justifying the brutality of the native African. And if I stand with the whites, with the Britishers, and it means I am betraying my own people, I am betraying the Africans. What will be the difference between me and the others who are killing the innocent in this warfare? So the poet says that I do not really understand which side I should stand and which language I should choose, because I have fondness for the both English language and for English people, and also I am associated with my own people, with my own culture, with the tradition, with my own traditions. So the poet is in the state of confusion, and he cannot justify the violence of the Britishers and the retaliation of the Kikuyu tribe and the Mau Mau uprisings. The poet is now in the state of confusion. He don't know which side he should choose and which side he should stand, whether with the Britishers, although the Britishers are brutal, they had exploited the Kenyan people, or whether he choose his own natives, so African people, whether he should choose the brutality or he should justify the brutality of the Kenyan people.